Okay, with the base paints done, let's start doing the shades, or in this case using a contrast paint. This one's a skeleton horde, and we're going to use that on the boots and the gloves. So nothing special here in terms of a brush to use, just anything that is reasonably neat. So you can already kind of see the effect that that's going to have as it dries. The advantage of using a contrast paint being that it will tend to leave more of the base colour showing, opposed to the shades like Agrak's Earthshade that will tend to darken down the whole colour. You can still add a highlight to this, which I probably will do later. But obviously from here on in, it's about being neat. And that's why I'm using a smaller size brush, just to kind of keep control of it. And quite quick to do. Okay, so that's one done, just the other 5 to do. Okay, just doing the hair and other bits and pieces right now. So because I've got a range of different hair colours, I'm just going to use the most appropriate shade in each case. Depends what colours you use and what products you've got to hand. But right now we'll do some Agrak's Earthshade just on the little backpacks, just to get those done. Trying not to leave any really noticeable pools of it, because it can look a bit odd as it dries, but that's the idea. Okay, next I've got some Carroburg Crimson, and I'm just going to use that in a few places. First, up around the gemstone, up on the front of the helmet. That, and then we're going to use it in these triangle areas. That's just going to help define the triangles, the white ones. That, and then we're going to fill in around the waist and just go over the white, it's not a problem. And with that red, that shade going in, it's just going to help pick out those white ovals for layering up later. And that's all we need for the red shade. Now the last shade to use is the Nuln Oil, and I'm just going to use that on all the armour. And this is a stage that is going to give us the kind of black outlining around the different areas, different colours, opposed to painting in a black line by hand. So it won't be as strong as that, but it's a good quick way of getting that outline that you need for these older miniatures, if you're trying to paint them in that older looking style. So the likes of that area there where the hair is onto that shoulder pad, we can just put some of the Nuln Oil right over that. And then for the helmet, you don't really need to go over the whole thing, because it's such a big smooth surface, you don't really need to shade it, but there's a little recess around the back there, and of course around where those red triangles are, that red pattern. Put some in there to get a little black outline around them. And then just around the edge of the helmet where it meets the face, just careful, you can get a little nice black line in there. Which just separates that out across the nose, like that. On both sides. I think as long as you don't have too much on your brush at one time, you can usually get that to work okay. Having said that, it's a bit heavy in there right now, so what I'll do is just go back in, just use the brush to take away some of that from the eye, like that. And the spear tip. Just going on to the red a little bit to create that dividing line. Okay, so that's the metal all covered, but what we want to do now is carefully go in and just run some of the Nuln Oil along the edge between the red and the white. And it just adds a little bit of an outline. The red's going to get a bit darkened, of course, but that's okay because we'll be layering it up in the next stage. This bit's about just getting some black onto the point where the two colours come together. And it can feel like quite a subtle effect, but as it dries, it does end up creating that little hint of a black line. Again, don't have too much on the brush at one time. Otherwise it'll just be too heavy, and you don't need to do it where, for example, you've already shaded the gloves. Just one other thing to note is the gemstones. So it's just the two to do. And as it happens, I've got a pot of this Drakenhof nightshade. So as soon as I've got it, I'll use it on the blue gemstone. And I've also got this Biltan green, which which I'll use on the green gemstone. If you don't have them, you don't need to use them. You can just use a Nuln Oil on them. Wouldn't be a big deal. So that completes this stage of doing the shades. So I'll get the rest of these done, and then we can get on with the layering and highlighting.